What's up, AP fam? Welcome back to another episode of the Demonologist tapes, right here on Alternative Paranormal. On this episode, guys, I knew how on the last one I was going to talk about my journey into studying demonology. I figure I'm going to put that one off for another time. I figured to take some time right now to talk about a certain location that somebody has been really wanting me to talk about, and that is going to be the Jailhouse of Mystery that I went to for 2 days up in Bridgeport, Illinois. It's the Bridgeport County Jail. So anyways, guys, when that happened, I was contacted in November of 2021 by the owner. He had called me at night, and I thought it was just like a telemarketer call, so I answered it. He asked if this was Larry. I said yes. And I asked, may I ask who's calling? And he said, my name is Anthony. And he says, I was referred to you by Kate. With Saving the Old Properties. And guys, Kate is the general manager of those locations. And I was like, okay, yeah, I know Kate. So we talked. He had said he had one other team come out there, which was the Foreman brothers. And then shortly after that, he had another team come out. And he said he was really disappointed with the last team that came out. I'm not going to name them because they kind of disrespected his location. And they were very disrespectful to him. So guys, when this journey started, I had got to talk to Anthony. We were talking back and forth throughout the rest of the months up until I came out there last year in the month of April on one of my vacations. We had been talking a lot about it. He'd been giving me a lot of information about the location itself. And so I showed up, and he said, I don't know if it's spirits or if it's demonic or if it's both. So the first day I was there, he kind of gave me a walkthrough. He had me standing in a couple of the jail cells where he was picking up on some stuff. And I felt something in the first cell. The second cell, I didn't really pick up on a whole lot of the vibe. So he gave me a walkthrough, a tour of the building, and after that, him and his girlfriend headed out. So I started off my investigation and doing a walkthrough. I think I went Facebook Live for a little bit, and then I went ahead and started filming. So I decided to head down into the basement and into the drunk tank, set up some cat balls, and put them all in a line. And then I pulled up the Necrophonic app and started, running the tests. And I didn't notice that one of them had went off. I was too focused on trying to listen to the Necrophonic app, but then another one went off and that caught my attention. And then if you guys go back and watch that video, you guys will see exactly what I'm talking about. So as the day went on, they had come back. We went out to get something to eat, and I showed them the footage on my camera of what I had caught. And then we headed back to the jailhouse, and he had invited some friends with him because it was the evening time, and he had some friends who really wanted to come check it out. So we started to investigate, and as we started to investigate, we were getting activity and all kinds of other stuff, like some tapping, I think, and some other stuff. And then as the night progressed, the vibe in the building changed. During the day, I had a very peaceful experience, but then as nighttime progressed, the mood changed, the ambiance, and everything. Everything kind of started to really get very heavy and oppressive. The owner, Anthony, started to get really irritated, and so he decided to take a break. And then I started to feel a very strong negative vibe. It was very oppressive, and I'd only felt that at one other location, which is one that we always talk about, which is the Monroe House. And so we finished investigating, but before we had wrapped up, Anthony asked me if I felt like I wanted to go under the hood, which is Estes method, sight and sound deprivation. I said yeah. So I went up into the jail cell that I had all my stuff in my sleeping bag, and I had changed my mind. I was going to sleep in my car because it had gotten very cold that night. And I went through unzipped my equipment bag, and went through everything, and I could not find my SV11 spirit box. Went out to my car, checked everywhere in my car, even my duffel bag with all my clothes in it. Nothing. And going back and forth, we even went all through the place, looked basement, second floor, and the third floor, couldn't find it anywhere. And it's kind of funny how that happened, because and I'll get to the end of the story here. I just wanted to break away real quick and talk about this. So when I got home from this trip, Anthony contacted me as I was going over all the footage, and he wanted to talk to me about a certain thing, which is my spirit box that was missing. And he asked me, he's like, "Can I ask you an honest question?" I said, "Yeah, sure." He's like, "Did you think that we stole it by chance?" And I was like, "Oh, it's kind of funny you asked that question, Anthony. I mean, I'm going to be honest, it's like kind of, yeah, I kind of did." And I was like, "I'm really sorry that I thought that." And he goes, "Well, no, you're totally fine," because we had talked saying we had only known each other over the phone, just talking, never met in person before, and he had totally agreed that he could see why I would have thought that. And so we talked and everything, but pretty much the story is that the next day, that I had left all my stuff up in the jail cell. We all wrapped up that night. We all came outside, and I turned on my car to let my car warm up. They were letting their car warm up, and we were talking about everything. And so we all kind of wrapped up. They headed out. I moved my car in front of the door on the back side, which is the only door that's accessible to open, and I parked in front so nobody could break in. Made sure the padlock was on there and everything, and I sat there and really thought about that day and all the stuff, and then I finally went to sleep, put on a movie on my phone, and went to bed. Woke up the next day, I think it was about 9 o'clock, brushed my teeth, got geared up, and went inside and started to investigate some more. And I did like a little bait tactic. I took a ring, because they said there's a spirit of a woman on the 3rd floor, which is the courthouse. And so I brought up my ring, the little bait tactic, and a cat ball. Set it up on the courthouse pew, and if you guys go back and watch that episode, you'll see what I'm talking about. So that happens, and when I made contact, you hear it say, "Yes, sir, I am," because I asked if she was sitting next to me because the cat ball went off right where the ring is and everything. So as that day progressed, I really didn't get a whole lot more activity, really. It was just that one occurrence, and everything was kind of just normal. They showed back up to investigate as well, and we went back up, and that's when we get the GhostTube SLS app on Missy's phone. And that's when I had interaction with that. Phenomenal footage. I'll never forget that. And so we all took a break. We went over to Anthony's house. His wife made wings. I love wings. I'm a wing guy. She cooks the best wings, by the way. Best homemade wings ever. And we talked about everything, and then we all headed over to the jail again to investigate that evening. The second time, things were kind of really kind of starting to ramp up and almost going sideways. And I've taken all my bags and packed up everything that morning, and I moved everything out to my car, and I did one last sweep of the jail, and I did one last bag check. My equipment bag, looked everywhere. My duffel bag, went through all that. Still no spirit box. Put all my stuff in my car. And just in case somebody did, like a vandal maybe broke in overnight, there's no telling. Because Anthony has had people sneak in and vandalize the place. So I was like, hey, I'm going to go get my motion alarm, I believe is what it was, or my laser grid. I think it was my motion alarm. So I went out there, and I pushed my duffel bag, and when I went to touch the side pocket of the bag and push it over to get to my equipment bag, I felt something in there. And I'm like, what's this? And on the video, you'll hear me unzip it, and then you'll hear me say, okay, just 1 second, guys. So when I unzip the pouch, I reach inside, and there's my SB11 spirit box. And that's kind of when I began to realize that something is not right. Because I checked my bags that night, the night before. Me and Anthony even helped me check. Him and his friends, we walked around that place, like I said. I checked my bags, he helped me check my bags, nothing. And then I moved it all in there that morning, nobody's there. And that happened. And the only thing that would make sense for that is that it was something demonic that took it and hid it and kept it hidden until that day, and then decides to put it back in there that evening. Because my car was locked up and everything. I made sure I had my car locked up tight. All the doors locked, everything. And based on my belief with demonology, with my religious doctrine, is that a demonic spirit is the only kind of spirit that has the ability to do something like that. I don't believe a human spirit that's earthbound can take an object and hide it. That's just my belief. I'm not discrediting anybody else's beliefs out there. This is simply my view. And I went inside and I got kind of irritated about that. And I realized at this time, this thing is playing games. And it's almost like playing a mocking in a way. And we in there showed it to Anthony, and Anthony was like, "You got to be kidding me!" And I told them all about it, and I called that spirit out, and kind of stood up to it, said, "I'm onto your crap. I'm not gonna sit here and let you do this." And so we continued to investigate that evening, and then we wrap up, and because I had a long drive home the next, I think it was like 6.5, 7 hour ride, and I have never had anything. The only other thing that happened like that was at the Monroe House in 2020 when we went. And if you go through and watch those videos, we were brand new to filming. That was our first major location. But if you look at the Monroe House desecrated soil video, the first episode, part 1, Cat and Mouse, you hear me share a story with Eddie Norris, the owner of the Monroe House, and you hear me tell a story about how something like similar to this happened. So after that night, we wrapped up, and me and Anthony started talking about everything. When I had gotten back, we stayed in touch, and we are now best friends. I consider the guy as like a brother to me now. And he had mentioned that he had some people coming in to help him fix the place up. One guy was up there working in the courthouse on the 3rd floor, and he had found the ring that I had left. And the guy took it, and he moved it, and then he lost it. And shortly after that, I believe Anthony told me the guy had a stroke, which is kind of disturbing. And there's another guy that got chased down the stairs or shoved down him, and he refuses to come back. So Anthony has, over the time since I had been there and all the investigating going on with him and his team coming in there and having the Foreman brothers come back again, he said things now, he doesn't even want to investigate in there. They had another friend with them she refuses to go back because what had happened, they were upstairs, I think, in the courthouse, and something made this young woman freeze in place, and she could not move. There was an upside down cross that started getting carved into her arm. People were getting scratched, punched, shoved, and he said that it's totally gone to a dark place. And Anthony was talking to me, and he says, "I'm pretty sure you are correct about it being a demonic spirit." And I told him, I was like, "Well, you gotta look at stuff that's happened." And when he started telling me stories about people, how they were treated, one guy was beaten to death in the drunk tank, another guy hung himself in that first jail cell, so that, you have suicide being committed there, you had beatings being committed there, all kinds of doors being opened by violence that occurred in that building long before Anthony had purchased it. So with that being said, I do plan on going back there. He does want me to come back and check it out again and everything like that, and I told him I'm going to. It's a really cool place, guys. There's a lot of history there. I even found like little kid shoes, like baby shoes looked like they were from the 80s, up there in one of the office rooms where they had, I think it was just like a waiting room, or the waiting room, there's one back there, and then there's another side office area in there. You'll see the video, and I think I do show those on the film. I can't remember. And it's just, there was a photo too of a woman, I think he said, that he had found, and now that photo's missing. That could just be due to theft or being misplaced. But he's done a lot of work to the place too, and I always tell him the more you go to fix the place up, the more things are going to get stirred up in there. It's kind of like it gets them riled up, it makes them irritated, and stuff like that. But he agrees that there is something demonic in there, and he says it himself. And also, guys, on this channel, I want to give a shout out to everybody who has taken the time to subscribe to us, guys, and show us some support. We are very thankful and blessed to have the support that we have. We would not be here today if it weren't for all of you supporting us on this journey. And for those of you who are on this channel, go over to Pendulum Paranormal Timeline and show Anthony some support, guys. That's his YouTube channel with his team. They have a lot of cool videos on there, guys. you know, it shows their investigations at his location and what happens. And he's also got some other really cool videos on there too. So guys, if you please go over there to his team, Pendulum Paranormal Timeline, and show them some support, guys, and hit that subscribe button. But that's it for this tape, guys, the Jailhouse of Mystery, and my thoughts on it, and me sharing some stories about that investigation for those 2 days. I do look forward to going back there, and I mean, Anthony's been sending me pictures of the progress that he has been doing on getting that place fixed up. When I had first gone, you guys will see in the video, that place is still being refurbished and renovated and stuff like that. And from the time I had been there to the time, the pictures that he's shown me now are incredible with all the work that he has gotten in. And I cannot wait to check out the women's side of the jail cells that he's finally gotten fixed up. So that's going to be a whole another area that's been opened up now. From when I was there, you couldn't even get in there. I mean, there was so much debris and stuff like that. And the courthouse had still quite a bit of debris up there. He had managed to get the floor swept and get some of the dirt pushed back, and all the debris and dander and all that stuff pushed back up against the wall. But now it's been all swept out, and I cannot wait to go back and film again, because that place was a very cool location, and I will never forget my experiences there and what I felt. And like I said, guys, if you guys want to see it for yourself, go check out his channel. So like I said, show him some love and subscribe to him. And go over, if you guys have not watched the Jailhouse of Mystery videos, part 1 and 2, those are 2 feature-length films. The first part is almost 2 hours. It's shy of 2 hours by 2 minutes. The second one, I think, is 2 hours and 19 minutes. And that's pretty much, I mean, it's just good stuff. I mean, really good activity that we catch, especially with the cat ball activity and the SLS camera footage that we got. Really awesome. But anyways, guys, I just wanted to get another episode out to you guys. I'm sorry about the wait. You know, working a full-time job and having to do this as a second job and a hobby and a passion. It's a lot of work. But we really do appreciate your patience and your support and the love that you guys show us all the time, guys. So with that being said, guys, be blessed and stay safe and stay spooky. And we will see you on the other side, guys. Peace.